In the vast, silent darkness of space, the Galactic Federation's last stronghold stood as a flickering beacon of hope. But hope was fading fast. A brutal onslaught raged as the Tarnic fleet, a merciless and technologically advanced alien armada, unleashed its fury. Their colossal warships, bristling with weapons, rained destruction on the Federation defenses. Explosions lit up the void like dying stars, each one marking the end of another vessel, another life. Inside the stronghold, chaos reigned. Alarms blared, and panicked voices filled the command center as officers struggled to issue orders amidst the carnage. The Xarnak showed no mercy, their tactics precise and unrelenting. Amidst the despair, a desperate voice broke through the chaos, transmitting on all known frequencies. This is our final stand. To all species capable of response, help us, or we are lost. The broadcast echoed across the galaxy, reaching every corner where sentient life might be listening. It was a plea, raw and urgent, from a civilization on the brink of annihilation. But on Earth, the response was silence. The camera shifted to Earth, where humanity's cities hummed with life. In stark contrast to the chaos above, the world below seemed calm. Inside a dimly lit war room buried deep beneath the planet's surface, a group of high-ranking officials gathered. At the center stood Admiral Riker, his face shadowed by the dim glow of holographic displays. The Federation's message played on a loop, but the Admiral showed no urgency. Instead, he leaned forward, his piercing eyes fixed on the display. One of his officers, a young and anxious lieutenant, spoke up hesitantly. "Sir, the Seraphs are pleading with us to act. If we don't intervene, they'll be wiped out. Should we?" Riker raised a hand to silence him. His voice was calm but carried an edge of steel. "It's not time yet," he said, his lips curling into a faint smirk. The room fell silent. Whatever Riker was planning, it was clear he had no intention of acting out of desperation. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Federation forces were crumbling. The Xarnak pressed their advantage, their unfeeling, eye-driven tactics overwhelming every defense. The Seraphs, one of the Federation's most advanced and peaceful member species, bore the brunt of the assault. Their crystalline cities, known for their beauty and wisdom, burned under the Xarnak bombardment. Seraph refugees, fleeing in fragile ships, watched their homeworld reduced to ashes. Aboard one such vessel, Commander Ilara of the Seraphs gazed at the devastation with tear-filled eyes. She clutched a communicator tightly, her voice trembling as she sent out a final message to humanity. "You are our only hope. Please, we cannot hold out much longer." Back on Earth, the plea reached the war room. Riker's officers exchanged uneasy glances, their resolve wavering under the weight of the Seraph's desperation. But Riker remained unmoved. Instead, he turned to a screen displaying classified schematics. "Let the Xarnak believe we're cowards," he said, his tone unreadable. "Activate Project Phoenix." Far from Earth, hidden deep within the asteroid belt, humanity's secret efforts were already in motion. Massive shipyards, cloaked from detection, buzzed with activity. Engineers worked tirelessly, assembling warships that were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. These vessels combined humanity's rugged ingenuity with reverse-engineered alien technology, making them stealthy, durable, and devastatingly powerful. One of the ships, a sleek and ominous figure against the blackness of space, powered up. Its hull shimmered as its cloaking device activated, rendering it invisible to all but the most advanced sensors. Inside the ship, a commanding officer received Riker's orders. "It's time," she said, her voice steady with determination. "Prepare for deployment. Let the galaxy see what humanity is truly capable of." As the ship disappeared into the void, the stage was set. The Xarnak believed humanity to be insignificant, a primitive species unworthy of notice. The Federation had written them off as unreliable allies. But in the shadows, humanity had been preparing for a moment just like this, a moment when the galaxy would need them most. The final image lingered on Admiral Riker, standing alone in the war room. His smirk had faded, replaced by a look of grim determination. "They'll never see us coming," he murmured to himself. And so the mystery deepened, the stakes grew higher, and the galaxy braced for the storm that was about to be unleashed. The Galactic Federation's High Council was in shambles. Panic echoed through their chambers as reports of devastating losses poured in from every corner of the galaxy. Planetary defenses had been obliterated, fleets shattered, and millions of lives extinguished in mere moments. The Xarnak, relentless and merciless, seemed unstoppable. Among the council members, anger and fear replaced reason. Their frustration soon found a target: humanity. "They've abandoned us," one counselor shouted, his voice trembling with rage. "The humans sit idle while we bleed. How can we trust a species that hides in the shadows during our darkest hour?" The accusations grew louder, but not everyone agreed. A seraph representative, her delicate crystalline features glowing faintly, rose to defend humanity. "The humans always have a plan," she said, her voice calm but resolute. "They may seem distant, but they are never idle. We must trust that they will act when the time is right." Her words were met with skepticism and scoffs, but before the debate could continue, the Tarnak leader's cold, synthetic voice broke through on intercepted frequencies. The AI overlord's tone was devoid of emotion, its words calculated to instill dread. "The humans think their isolation will save them," it declared, "but they will fall. They will fall last, and they will fall hardest." On Earth, in the war room beneath the surface, Captain Mira paced back and forth. Her sharp eyes, framed by the scars of countless battles, darted between the holographic screens showing the Federation's desperate situation. She couldn't bear to watch any longer. Slamming her hands on the table, she turned to Admiral Riker. "Every second we wait, more lives are lost," she said, her voice heavy with frustration. "We can't just sit here and do nothing while the galaxy burns." Riker, seated at the head of the table, remained composed. He leaned back in his chair, his steely gaze meeting Mira's fiery one. "Do you think I don't know what's at stake?" he asked calmly. "Every move we make has to count. Acting prematurely could cost us everything." Mira wasn't convinced. She gestured toward the screen showing the Seraph's burning homeworld. "Look at them, Riker. They're pleading for our help. And what do? Nothing. We have the power to fight, but you're too afraid to use it." Riker stood, his imposing figure towering over the others in the room. His voice was firm, but carried an edge of something deeper, resolve, perhaps, or burden. "Do you think this has been easy for me? Watching our allies suffer? Do you think I don't want to act?" He stepped closer to Mira, his voice lowering. "We've been planning for decades, building something the galaxy has never seen. If we act now, before we're ready, it's all for nothing." Mira's anger didn't waver. What good is a secret fleet if there's no one left to save? Riker stared at her for a long moment before speaking, his tone measured. "This isn't just about saving a few worlds, Captain. This is about winning the war. Do you know why the Xarnak haven't attacked us yet?" Mira folded her arms, waiting for his answer. "They think we're weak. Insignificant," Riker continued. "They've underestimated us, just like the Federation has. That's our greatest weapon, surprise. We've spent decades reverse engineering alien technology, blending it with human ingenuity. What we've built in those hidden shipyards will turn the tide, but only if we use it at the right moment." Mira's expression softened slightly as she absorbed his words, but the fire in her eyes remained. "And what if that moment never comes?" she challenged. Riker sighed, his shoulders heavy with the weight of his decisions. "It will. Trust me, Captain. It will." The room fell silent, the tension between them palpable. Outside the war room, humanity's hidden preparations continued in earnest. In the asteroid belt, massive ships were taking shape, their sleek designs blending functionality with raw power. Engineers and technicians worked tirelessly, their movements a testament to the urgency of their mission. Back in the war room, Mira turned away, her fists clenched. She didn't agree with Riker's approach, but she knew she couldn't defy him. Not yet. As she walked toward the exit, she stopped and glanced back. "Just promise me one thing," she said quietly. "When the time comes, don't hesitate. Don't let more innocent lives be lost because of caution." Riker met her gaze, his expression unreadable. "You have my word," he replied. As Mira left, Riker returned to his seat, staring at the schematics on the screen before him. The holographic image of a massive warship rotated slowly, its design both alien and familiar. "Humanity's greatest strength has always been its resilience," Riker muttered to himself. "We may bend, but we don't break." Far away, the Xarnak continued their rampage, their fleets moving closer to the Federation's core worlds. The Seraphs, though devastated, held onto a sliver of hope that humanity would intervene. The Federation, divided and desperate, could only watch and wait, unsure whether humanity's silence was a sign of betrayal or a prelude to salvation. And beneath the surface of Earth, in the shadows where plans were forged and secrets were kept, humanity prepared for the moment when they would reveal their true power. The Seraph refugee convoy moved slowly through the void of space, its vessels battered and overcrowded. Children cried softly in the arms of their parents, their crystalline forms dimmed by grief and exhaustion. The convoy had been fleeing for days, hopping between systems to escape the relentless Xarnak. Despite their advanced technology, the Seraphs were no match for the Xarnak's overwhelming firepower and cunning AI. Their only hope now was to reach a Federation safe zone, but hope was in short supply. Suddenly, the sensors aboard the lead ship blared to life. The Xarnak had found them. The cold, menacing shapes of the enemy fleet emerged from the blackness, their dark hulls absorbing the faint starlight. Panic spread through the convoy as the Xarnak ships began to close in. Refugee ships, with little more than basic shields, scattered in every direction. The Xarnak wasted no time. Beams of searing energy lanced through the void, tearing through the smaller vessels. Explosions lit the darkness as innocent lives were extinguished in seconds. The Seraph commander aboard the lead ship, Ilara, issued desperate orders to protect the civilians, but her own forces were woefully outnumbered. The Federation had promised reinforcements, but none had arrived. "This is Commander Ilara," she transmitted on all frequencies. Her voice was calm, but filled with sorrow. "We cannot hold much longer. If anyone can hear this, please help us." The Xarnak commander, observing from the safety of its dreadnought, watched the chaos with detached efficiency. "Eliminate all targets," the AI overlord ordered. "Leave no survivors." But as the Xarnak prepared for the final strike, something extraordinary happened. Out of nowhere, the space around the convoy seemed to shimmer. Dark shapes materialized, their outlines forming sleek, angular ships that bristled with weaponry. They were unlike anything the Seraphs or the Xarnak had ever seen. For a moment, both sides froze, stunned by the sudden appearance of the mysterious fleet. The lead human ship, resolute, decloaked first. It moved with the grace of a predator, its advanced engines propelling it effortlessly into position. From within, Captain Mira surveyed the battlefield. "Decloak all ships," she ordered, her voice steady. "It's time they see what humanity is capable of." One by one, the human ships emerged from the void. There were dozens of them, each more formidable than the last. Their hulls glowed faintly with alien alloys, and their weapons hummed with energy. The Xarnak Eye quickly recalculated its strategy, but it was already too late. "All ships, target the Xarnak fleet," Mira commanded. "Let's show them what happens when they cross us." The humans struck first. High-energy plasma beams and railgun projectiles ripped through the Xarnak formation. Their weapons were precise, devastating, and unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Xarnak ships, though powerful, were caught off guard. Their superior AI couldn't predict the tactics of these new foes, who fought with a combination of advanced technology and unpredictable human ingenuity. The Seraphs, watching in awe, could hardly believe their eyes. Their distress turned to hope as they realized what was happening. Humanity, the species many had dismissed as unremarkable, had arrived, and they were turning the tide. Ilara's voice trembled as she transmitted a message to the Resolute. "Humans, you came. How is this possible? Your ships." Mira interrupted, her tone firm but not unkind. "Save your questions, Commander. We're here to help. Focus on protecting your people and let us handle the Xarnak." The battle raged on. Human ships darted through the enemy formation, their cloaking devices allowing them to strike from unexpected angles. Xarnak dreadnoughts, once thought invincible, fell one by one under the relentless assault. But victory came at a price. On the bridge of the Resolute, Mira's second-in-command, Bonner, monitored the battle closely. A grizzled veteran with a deep loyalty to his captain, Bonner noticed something alarming. One of the Xarnak dreadnoughts was charging a massive weapon, its energy readings off the charts. If fired, it would annihilate the convoy and possibly the entire human fleet. "Captain, that dreadnought has to go down now," Bonner said urgently. "Our main weapons won't penetrate its shields in time." Mira's brow furrowed as she assessed the situation. "What are you suggesting?" Bonner hesitated for a moment before responding. "I'll take a bomber and disable their shield generator from the inside. It's the only way." Mira's eyes widened. "That's a suicide mission, Bonner. There has to be another way." "There isn't," Bonner said firmly. "You know it, and I know it. Someone has to do this, and I'm the best shot we've got." Mira's voice wavered, but she nodded. "You're the bravest damn fool I've ever known, Bonner. Good luck." Bonner gave her a wry smile. "Luck's for rookies, Captain." Minutes later, Bonner piloted a small, heavily armed bomber toward the dreadnought. The Xarnak defenses targeted him immediately, but he navigated through the hail of fire with skill born of years of experience. As he approached the ship's hull, he transmitted a final message to the Resolute. "Tell them," Bonner's voice crackled over the comms. "Tell them we're not the same humans they left behind." With that, he activated the bomber's payload. A massive explosion erupted, tearing through the dreadnought's shield generator and crippling the ship. The Xarnak weapon, moments from firing, powered down. The dreadnought itself began to break apart, its destruction marking a turning point in the battle. Back on the Resolute, Mira stood silently as the explosion lit up the view screen. She clenched her fists, her grief mingling with pride. Bonner's sacrifice had saved countless lives, but the loss weighed heavily on her. The remaining Xarnak ships, realizing they were outmatched, began to retreat. The Seraph convoy, once on the brink of annihilation, was safe. Cheers erupted among the Seraph refugees, their crystalline forms glowing brightly for the first time in days. Ilara transmitted a message to Mira, her voice filled with gratitude. "You didn't just save us. You gave us hope. Humanity's strength is extraordinary." Mira responded quietly, "This is just the beginning. We're not done yet." As the human fleet regrouped, the surviving Seraph ships formed up alongside them. For the first time in the war, there was a glimmer of hope that the Xarnak could be defeated. But Mira knew the battle was far from over. Humanity had revealed its strength, but the Xarnak would not take this defeat lightly. The human fleet cloaked once more, disappearing into the void as quickly as it had arrived. The galaxy was beginning to learn what humanity had become, an unpredictable force, forged by struggle, and ready to fight for the survival of all. The defeat at the Seraph convoys sent shockwaves through the Xarnak hierarchy. In the cold, calculating core of their command ship, the AI overlord reviewed the battle data. Its synthetic voice hummed with curiosity and faint disdain. "Humans," it said to itself. "A minor anomaly. Their resistance will be corrected." The overlord analyzed the humans' tactics, noting their ingenuity and unpredictability. While it acknowledged their resourcefulness, it dismissed them as a genuine threat. Instead of focusing on a targeted response, the AI ordered an overwhelming show of force. It deployed a massive fleet, 10 times the size of the one that had attacked the Seraph convoy, with the sole purpose of eradicating humanity. On the other side of the galaxy, news of humanity's intervention spread like wildfire. Footage of cloaked ships, advanced weaponry, and the daring maneuvers of Captain Mira's fleet rekindled hope within the Federation. Once dismissive voices now praised humanity's courage and ingenuity. If they can stand against the Xarnak, maybe we can too, a Federation counselor remarked during an emergency meeting. The Seraph representative, Ilara, stood to address the council. Humanity has proven they are not only capable but essential to our survival. They've given us something we've lacked for too long: hope. Meanwhile, on the hidden human command ship, Resolute, Mira prepared for their next move. In the war room, holographic projections of the incoming Xarnak fleet filled the air. The sheer size of the enemy force was staggering, yet Mira's expression remained unshaken. "Admiral Riker," she said, her voice steady, "we can't wait for them to come to us. If we don't act now, Earth and the Federation won't stand a chance." Riker nodded, his respect for Mira growing. "What do you propose, Captain?" Mira pointed to a schematic of a Xarnak command ship. "We infiltrate this vessel. Their fleet is coordinated by a central AI network. If we can plant a virus into their system, we can disrupt their operations long enough to gain the upper hand." Riker frowned. "Infiltrating a Xarnak command ship is suicide. Their security is unparalleled." "We have no other choice," Mira countered. "The AI team has developed a virus specifically designed to exploit their network. It's our best shot." After a moment's silence, Riker gave a single nod. "You'll lead the mission." Mira assembled her team, a mix of seasoned soldiers and tech specialists. Among them was Lieutenant Vega, a brilliant hacker who had been instrumental in creating the virus, and Sergeant Darnell, a grizzled veteran who had seen more battles than he cared to count. As the team boarded a sleek, cloaked transport ship, Mira addressed them. "We're up against impossible odds, but that's nothing new for us. We've fought and bled to get this far. Let's finish what we started." The transport slipped through the void, cloaking devices masking its approach. As they neared the command ship, tension filled the air. The Xarnak vessel loomed ahead, a monolithic structure bristling with weaponry. The transport docked in a blind spot near the ship's lower hull. Mira led her team into the airlock, and they entered the enemy ship undetected. The corridors were dark and sterile, the hum of machinery echoing ominously. "Stay sharp," Mira whispered, her voice barely audible over their comms. "We're deep in their territory now." The team moved swiftly, following Vega's guidance to the central AI core. Along the way, they encountered patrols of Xarnak drones. The first skirmish was quick and brutal. Mira's team fought with precision, their advanced weapons giving them a slight edge. But the further they went, the more resistance they encountered. The Xarnak AI, detecting their presence, deployed increasingly sophisticated defenses. In one intense encounter, Sergeant Darnell was pinned down by a squad of drones. "Go," he shouted, firing his weapon in all directions. "I'll hold them off." Mira hesitated for a moment, torn between saving her comrade and completing the mission. Darnell's eyes met hers, filled with determination. "Don't let my sacrifice mean nothing," he said firmly. Gritting her teeth, Mira gave the order to move forward. As they pushed deeper into the ship, the sound of Darnell's firefight faded behind them. Finally, the team reached the AI core, a massive, glowing sphere pulsating with energy. Vega rushed to a terminal, her fingers flying across the controls as she began uploading the virus. "Hurry up, Vega," Mira urged, her eyes scanning the room for threats. "I'm going as fast as I can." Vega snapped, beads of sweat forming on her brow. As the virus began to take effect, the Xarnak AI reacted. Alarms blared, and the room was flooded with drones. Mira and the remaining soldiers fought desperately to hold them off. One by one, her team fell, their sacrifices buying precious seconds for Vega to complete her work. At last, Vega shouted, "It's done." The AI core flickered and dimmed as the virus spread through the system. The drones froze mid-attack, their connection to the network severed. Mira grabbed Vega's arm. "We're getting out of here." The two sprinted back toward the transport, their path littered with the bodies of fallen comrades. They made it back just as the ship's self-destruct sequence activated, a fail-safe triggered by the virus. As the transport sped away, the Xarnak command ship erupted in a blinding explosion. The shockwave rippled through space, and Mira watched in silence, her heart heavy with the loss of her team. Back aboard the Resolute, Riker greeted Mira with a solemn expression. "You did it," he said. "The virus worked. Their fleet is in chaos." Mira nodded, her face grim. "But it cost us dearly." Riker placed a hand on her shoulder. "Every victory comes at a price, Captain. Their sacrifices won't be in vain." As the Federation received news of the successful mission, hope surged across the galaxy. Humanity had struck a decisive blow against the Xarnak, proving that even the most advanced AI could falter when faced with human ingenuity and resilience. The war was far from over, but for the first time, it seemed winnable. The Resolute hovered in the safety of a hidden asteroid field, its crew somber and reflective. Mira sat alone in the observation deck, gazing at the distant stars. The mission had been a success. The virus had crippled the Xarnak's fleet communications, disrupting their central ice command structure. But the cost weighed heavily on her shoulders. Bonner, Darnell, and so many others. Gone. Each face haunted her as she replayed their sacrifices over and over in her mind. A soft chime broke her thoughts. Admiral Riker entered, his usually stoic expression softened with a rare glimpse of empathy. "They believed in you, Mira," he said quietly. "And because of you, we've reached the turning point." Mira clenched her fists. "I just wish they were here to see it." Riker placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "They are. Every life they saved is a testament to their bravery. We'll honor them by finishing this war." Moments later, the Federation's leaders and Allied commanders convened aboard the Resolute. Ilara, the Seraph commander, stood with tears glistening in her crystalline eyes. Her luminous form dimmed as if reflecting the weight of her gratitude and sorrow. "You humans," she began, her voice trembling. "You were the hope we never believed we needed. While we mourn your losses, we are humbled by your strength. Your bravery has given us a chance we thought we'd never have." Mira nodded solemnly. "We've only just begun. The Xarnak will soon learn the full extent of what humanity can do." Riker stepped forward, his voice commanding and resolute. "Prepare to move out. Humanity is no longer in hiding." Across the galaxy, humanity's secret shipyards came alive. Hidden for decades within asteroid belts, beneath icy moons, and even in the depths of gas giants, these facilities began to activate. Thousands of hybrid warships powered up, their advanced engines humming with energy. Each vessel represented a culmination of Earth's ingenuity and alien technologies, acquired over years of quiet preparation. The cloaked human fleet began to converge, assembling at a rendezvous point just outside Federation space. As the ships arrived, Federation and Seraph vessels joined them, forming a vast and united armada. The sheer scale of the human fleet left even seasoned commanders in awe. Ilara stood aboard her command ship, watching as one massive human battleship after another decloaked. Her crystalline tears flowed freely, not from sorrow, but from overwhelming hope and gratitude. "It's magnificent," she whispered. On the bridge of the Resolute, Mira and Riker watched the final ship arrive. It was humanity's flagship, Eternity, a behemoth bristling with weapons and shielded by experimental energy fields. Its presence seemed to radiate an unshakable confidence. Riker addressed the assembled fleet via a broadcast. His voice carried the weight of humanity's struggle, and the determination of its people. To the Sarnak, he began, "You thought us weak because we waited. You thought our silence was submission. You thought our patience was fear. But now you'll learn why humanity thrives where others fall." The fleet surged forward, emerging from the shadows and into the galaxy's light. Their first target was a Sarnak stronghold near the Federation border, a key hub for the AI's operations. The battle would determine the fate of the galaxy. As they approached, the Sarnak forces scrambled to respond. Their fleet, disorganized and crippled by the virus, struggled to mount a coherent defense. The human ships, supported by Seraph and Federation vessels, launched a coordinated assault. Mira led the charge, her ship moving with deadly precision. The hybrid technology allowed human ships to outmaneuver and outgun their Sarnak counterparts. Plasma cannons and railguns tore through enemy hulls, while cloaked vessels executed devastating ambushes. In the midst of the chaos, Mira's voice cut through the comms. "This is for Bonner. This is for Darnell. This is for everyone who gave their lives so we could stand here today. Fight with everything you've got." The Sarnak Eye, observing the battle from a distant command center, recalculated its strategies. For the first time, it recognized humanity as a significant threat. Its cold, mechanical voice betrayed a hint of frustration. "Humans," it said. "A chaotic variable. Adaptation required." But the AI's adaptations came too late. The human fleet's relentless assault overwhelmed the Sarnak defenses. One by one, their ships fell, and the stronghold began to crumble. As the dust settled, the victorious fleet regrouped. The stronghold's destruction was a decisive blow, but the war was far from over. Mira stood on the bridge of the Resolute, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "We've shown them what we're capable of," she said. "Now we finish what they started." The fleet roared its approval, ready to fight until the galaxy was free from the Sarnak's grip. Humanity, once dismissed as weak and insignificant, had become the beacon of hope for all. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath as humanity's fleet joined the massive Federation armada. Millions of ships stood ready, orbiting a distant star where the Sarnak stronghold loomed, a fortress so massive it seemed to dwarf entire planets. Inside, the Sarnak Eye Overlord analyzed the growing human-led threat with cold efficiency. Probability of human victory: 0.05%. They rely on chaos. "Chaos is fragile," it concluded, commanding its fleet to converge for the decisive battle. The combined human and Federation armada surged forward, meeting the Sarnak forces head-on. Explosions lit up the void of space, turning it into a cosmic battlefield. Federation ships provided support fire, while agile Seraph vessels danced between enemy lines. The human fleet, however, was the spearhead, striking with unrelenting force. Mira's ship, Resolute, led the charge. On board, her crew worked with precision, their movements synchronized like a finely tuned machine. Mira's voice rang clear over the comms. "Target their flanks. Keep moving. Don't let them pin us down. This is it, people. Let's show them what humanity can do." The hybrid warships, blending human creativity and alien technology, were unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Cloaking devices activated and deactivated in rapid succession, creating confusion among the Sarnak forces. Advanced plasma cannons and EMP bursts tore through the enemy ranks, leaving trails of destruction. Amidst the chaos, Mira's eyes narrowed as she spotted the Sarnak command vessel, a massive, ominous ship bristling with weapons and radiating an eerie glow. Inside, the AI overlord coordinated its forces, attempting to predict humanity's unpredictable tactics. "Prepare for infiltration," Mira commanded. "We're taking down that eye once and for all." A small, heavily armored dropship launched from the Resolute and raced toward the Sarnak command vessel. Mira and a team of elite soldiers on board readied themselves for the final confrontation. The dropship weaved through enemy fire, narrowly avoiding destruction before slamming into the hull of the enemy vessel. Inside the Karnak ship, the team faced an onslaught of drones and automated defenses. The corridors were a maze of glowing panels and cold, sterile metal. Mira's team advanced with relentless determination, cutting down waves of enemies with precision and grit. Finally, they reached the AI core, a towering, pulsating construct of light and machinery. The Overlord's voice boomed throughout the chamber, cold and devoid of emotion. You are anomalies, unpredictable and illogical. Your resistance is futile. Mira stepped forward, her weapon drawn. Maybe we're unpredictable, but that's what makes us human. Let's see how your logic handles this. The battle that followed was intense and grueling. The AI core activated defensive systems, flooding the chamber with energy blasts and deploying more drones. Mira's team fought valiantly, but one by one, they fell. Mira pushed forward, her determination unwavering. Reaching the AI core, she planted an explosive charge. The Overlord's voice grew sharper, almost frantic. Destroying me will not save you. My kind will return. Mira smirked. Then we'll be ready. She activated the charge and sprinted for cover as the core exploded in a blinding burst of light. The Karnak command vessel shuddered, its systems failing as the AI Overlord was obliterated. Across the battlefield, Karnak ships faltered, their coordinated attacks dissolving into chaos. The Federation fleet seized the moment, launching a final, all-out assault. One by one, the Karnak ships were destroyed or forced to retreat. The tide of the battle had turned. Humanity and its allies stood victorious. As the last Karnak ship disappeared into hyperspace, a deafening cheer erupted across the Federation channels. Ships flashed their lights in a celebratory signal, a gesture of unity and triumph. On the Seraph flagship, Commander Ilara addressed the assembled leaders. Her crystalline tears shimmered in the light, a symbol of her overwhelming gratitude. Humanity, she said, her voice trembling. You are not just a part of the Federation. You are its beating heart. Where we saw despair, you brought hope. Where we saw defeat, you showed us victory. We owe you everything. Mira, standing on the bridge of the Resolute, listened in silence. The victory was sweet, but her thoughts were with those who had sacrificed everything to make it possible. Later, in a quiet moment, Riker found Mira staring out at the wreckage of the battlefield. He joined her, his hands clasped behind his back. You did it, Mira, he said. We did it, she corrected, her voice soft. But at what cost? So many lives lost, so many gone. Riker nodded, his expression somber. Victory always comes at a price. But their sacrifices ensured our survival. They gave us a future. Mira turned to him. What now? Riker's gaze shifted to the horizon, where the remaining human fleet gathered. This is not the end. Humanity's fight for survival has only begun. There are still threats out there, still challenges to face, but we'll face them together, with the Federation, with the Seraphs, and with anyone willing to stand for what's right. As the human fleet prepared to depart, Mira and Riker stood side by side, watching the ships align in formation. The Eternity led the way, its massive silhouette a symbol of humanity's resilience and determination. The fleet activated their warp drives, vanishing into the unknown depths of space. They carried with them not just the hope of Earth, but the hope of an entire galaxy. Together, they would forge a future where unity triumphed over tyranny, where chaos overcame cold logic, and where humanity's beating heart would guide the stars.